July 10th, 1973. Whereas, 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys, heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now know ye therefore, we the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation founded on spiritual values and in which no man, woman or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone or their labor exploited or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The natural resources of the Bahamas play a critical role in supporting Bahamian livelihoods. For example, the fishing and tourism industry, which include fishermen, seafood exporters, hoteliers, dive operators, restaurants, and others. Collectively, they generate approximately $1.5 billion a year. Therefore, we must respect and preserve what we have. These resources belong to us.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
So let's all do our part to maintain our local economy and
positive energy inspire others. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. And as always, it's so great to have you waking up with us. Some lingering cooler temperatures in the forecast this morning, but for more on your weather outlook for the day and the rest of the week, here's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Good morning, LaDawn. It is indeed another cool Wednesday morning, courtesy of a weak high-pressure system, which is gradually sliding towards the east. But outside of our studios, we're under partly cloudy skies. The temperature, a cool 63 degrees. The relative humidity, 93%. The winds are near calm. They're out of the north at 1 mile per hour. The barometric pressure, 1,019.7 millibars. That's 30.11 inches, and it is rising. Your temperatures around the islands this morning, 69 degrees in Marsh Harbor. Grand Total Key at 63. Also in Freeport, in the Berry Islands, 72. Allenstown, Bimini, 72 as well. Harbor Island, Roxanne, Eleuthera, 73 degrees. In Allenstown, Cat Island, 74. 72 in Staniel Key, Kemps Bay, South Andros, and Fresh Creek in Central Andros. In San Salvador and Rim Key, it is 74 degrees. 75 in Ragged Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, 74. Ackland, 74. Matthew, Tynanagua, 75. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 76 degrees. And just in case you're flying out this morning, well, here's some high and low temperatures you're likely to find at some of your favorite cities. That's going to do it for your travel forecast. Now for your boating forecast for today, for all areas, you can expect southeast winds 12 to 18 knots. The wave heights 3 to 6 feet over the ocean. As a result, caution flags up for your boaters throughout the islands. Low tide at 10:46 this morning. High tide will take place at 4:29 this afternoon. And that's going to do it for your first look at weather, the Morning Edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Meanwhile, our Lloyd Allen in the Morning Edition team is standing by with the Bahamas First traffic report.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
LaDawn, Bahamas, splendid morning. Of course, we are reporting your initial traffic report from University Drive. This is between the main campus of the University of the Bahamas and the Bishop Michael H. Alden building. This morning, you can see right behind me a median, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that this morning. But before we get into that, I have with me Sergeant Cressinia Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving you an initial look at overnight traffic. Good morning, Officer Johnson.
A pleasant good morning to you, and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. Well, overnight, we had 25 accidents involving damages, 6 accidents involving minor injury, and 1 hit-and-run accident. At present, we have 13 persons who are still hospitalized as a result of being involved in a traffic accident.
Well, of course, that's your initial traffic report. As you can see right behind me, traffic is building in this area. It tends to increase throughout the day. We know this is one of those heavy traffic areas. Over the last few weeks, this median has been installed. I was doing a little research last year around January. There was an accident, a pedestrian hit, unfortunately, by a Suzuki vehicle. And over the course of the following months, officials here at the university have worked diligently to really get this median installed. You have some details on that?
Yes. In this area, as you can see behind us, we have increased signage, increased street markings, increased infrastructure. All of this is an aid to help drivers understand that this area is a high pedestrian traffic area. And as it relates to the University of the Bahamas, they have been instrumental in doing research, and they have been advocating for more of these infrastructures to be in place. We have the nation's leaders coming up in this area. We have persons who, big and small, we have the different schools within the area. All of these things are of mind when we think of just traversing this entire street. We want to be mindful that, hey, these persons are constantly early in the morning, during the wee hours, in the nighttime, during after school. I think they go until 10:30 in the nighttime. All of this we have to take into consideration as road users.
And so, of course, as Officer Johnson indicated, students are throughout the day using this pedestrian crossing as a means to getting to and from classes. Of course, even though it's important to be mindful for those pedestrians, you also have a reminder for drivers as well. Increased signage among one of those changes in this area.
Yes, of course. As you can see, we have the fluorescent signs in the area, because I'm talking about, again, that wee hour time when people are traveling, like around this time. People are more inclined to use higher rates of speed. And using higher rates of speed when the road is clear, that's a norm for drivers in the Bahamas. So we have instances where persons are using the pedestrian crossings, and because of the high rate of speed they're traveling at, the braking distance, you're impaired with the braking distance. So as you can see, the street markings, they are in the street to basically alert drivers that, hey, you're coming to a point in the street where you need to slow down.
And also, when it relates to pedestrians, we know many times students getting to and from classes, maybe eating while walking, using their headphones, somehow distracted. And so any advice for students as they make their way to and across this median?
Like we spoke about yesterday, everybody has a duty of care. You owe yourself, you owe drivers, you owe pedestrians. All of you have a role to play in public and road safety. You have a goal that you should be, that, hey, I want to get from this location to the location I intend to go to safely, okay? So in that regard, as it pertains to crossing the streets, yes, drivers, there is a light here, there is pedestrian crossings and all those different stuff, but at the same time, pedestrians, yes, you are held responsible as well, because there is something called a careless pedestrian. Yes, if you're crossing the street and you have those headphones in your ears, you're crossing the street and you're eating, you're crossing the street and you're doing anything that takes your attention away from the street, yes, just as the driver is distracted, you are a distracted pedestrian. You're not paying attention to the street. And all of these things add up to these different incidents and accidents that occur. So we're asking the general public to look out for that public and road safety. Everybody is responsible.
And as we prepare to wrap up as well, I'm not sure if you guys can see behind me, but there's also an area where buses can actually pull over. There's a bus stop right here behind me where some students as well use that. Great indication here by the Ministry of Works that allows those persons using the bus to get on safely, allowing the bus to pull over and allowing traffic to continue to flow. Additionally, I know this morning we started talking yesterday about the idea of increased safety on the islands. We're going to get into details hopefully later in the week. Yeah. But any advice for persons from the areas of Grand Bahama or even Abaco where authorities are really trying to increase signage?
Like I said before, when roads are clearer, when roads they have the wider roads and you're not accustomed to that high volume of traffic, then that is usually a zone where you have increased speeds. So what we're advising persons in Grand Bahama, we usually associate Grand Bahama to drivers in the United States because the roads are wider and they don't have as much traffic as they do over here when they travel on highways for the majority of their streets. So what we advise the members and the persons in Grand Bahama and now in Abaco to please slow down. Yes, the roads, you probably are accustomed to the roads being clearer, but at the same time, you have so many different things that come into play. You have your braking distance, you have if your tires are going to have that friction and that traction to stop. We see now an increase in vehicles that are being overturned. So as it relates to all of these different things, all it comes back to is speed. We need to slow down.
Drivers, pedestrians, safety is key. As we wrap up, thank you so much. This has been a Wednesday Morning Report. LaDawn, back to you in studio.
Thanks, guys. Now on to our top story this morning. The Ministry of Health now confirming that 10 residents have been quarantined as a result of the novel coronavirus. The health statement indicated that the individuals being monitored currently have no symptoms of the virus. And with multiple ports of entry nationwide, health officials are considering establishing other quarantine sites if necessary. The Ministry of Health reiterating no confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in the Bahamas. The virus has already spread across at least 23 countries and now has more than 20,000 cases confirmed on mainland China, with 426 deaths. Also, tourism officials closely monitoring the coronavirus and its potential impact on the country's tourism product. Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, on the potential impact of the government-imposed travel ban, restricting all traveling to China from the Bahamas.
The ban is that any persons, any non-residents who have been in China in the last 20 days are restricted from entering the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And, you know, most countries placed a ban of 14 days, but we overcompensated a little by going to 20 days. So we wanted to be absolutely sure that no foreign visitors who could have been exposed to the virus in China would be attempting to enter the country. We get very small amounts of foreign visitors directly from China, and by and large, they have to go through another country to get here. And you will notice that those other countries now are beginning to throw up roadblocks.
Now, regarding the ministry's recent public relations campaign, the tourism minister says it is still too early to gauge whether or not it is reaping dividends.
It's hard to ascertain whether there's been a pickup because you don't have Abaco firing on full cylinders and Grand Bahama firing on full cylinders. And so while the other islands might be doing well and better, is it enough to compensate for the reduction that would have gone to those two impacted islands? It's still, we're very fresh in the new year. Numbers haven't been solidified yet, so our forward projections are that, you know, January was good, February is flat, March may be down a little bit, and April is a little bit up. So the kind of first 3-4 months, we would be happy with flat numbers.
While tourism officials watch the impact for the Bahamas, the Progressive Liberal Party is also among those monitoring the speedy developments with the novel coronavirus, whose death and infected numbers continue to climb. While the party believes the government is handling the situation here at home adequately, PLP leader Philip Davis says concerns linger when it comes to quarantine.
We want to understand the protocols of the quarantining. And our understanding of what happens is that if one person comes on the plane, that is required to be quarantined. You don't just quarantine the one person. The whole plane and those on it ought to likewise be quarantined. And we don't know whether that is the protocol that the government has in place. But we are following the events closely related to the coronavirus. And wherever we find that there are any missteps or anything that we could do to help alleviate the concerns and fears and try to bring normalcy back to the traveling public from that region, we will lend our support.
In other news, the central bank officials say they are continuing to study the impact of the digital currency system Sand Dollar on the island of Exuma. The project was launched back in December. Governor of the Central Bank of the Bahamas, John Rose, says interest in the system is high.
Even at this stage, the size of the pilot is at least twice what we'd intended initially. Right now, there are around about 1,200 individuals or 1,200 digital wallets that have been activated. We have nearly 2,000 other interested participants on the island of Exuma who want to enroll in the pilot.
Rose says despite the high interest in the project, there's a controlled process as to how persons are admitted into the Sand Dollar pilot.
They need to get through the central bank a smart card that activates their Sand Dollar wallet. And so it is really providing the community with those extra smart cards so that the individuals can get on board. For person-to-person movement of funds, we're not endorsing any fees on those transactions. So that has been a very clear rule that we've laid down for those who are participating.
And still to come, the way forward for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and what you should know about protecting your home. Stay close.
Hi, welcome to Dream Girls. We offer a wide variety of hair care, and your everyday beauty needs.
Here at Dream Girls, we carry a wide variety of products for natural or relaxed hair, such as ORS, Pure Care, and Shea Moisture. We also carry a large selection of weaving, braiding, and crochet hair. You can expect to find a private wig room, a large variety of products, and service with a smile. Whether you're shopping for a party, a corporate event, or your everyday working woman, Dream Girls can make your dream become a reality. Live your dream, experience your dream, Dream Girls.
We have 3 convenient locations to serve you: Village Road Shopping Center, Prince Charles Shopping Center, and Legacy Plaza located on Prince Charles next to BTC Cash and Go. Here at Dream Girls, enhancing beauty becomes your reality.
Nearly a month after he was set to return to duties at the helm of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Commander Talis Bethel has not returned. The leader currently at the helm is addressing that absence and gives insight into the future plans for the law enforcement body. Here's Cleopatra Murphy.
Acting Commander of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Captain Raymond King confirmed that Commodore Talis Bethel has not returned to active duty, addressing his continued absence to the media Tuesday morning. Bethel, who was placed on a mandatory 3-month leave in October, was set to return to work in mid-January. King says the Minister of National Security is charged with command of the agency, and he is currently responsible for the operations.
From my desk, Commodore Bethel is on leave, and in his absence, we have tremendous work that we're doing. the security and the humanitarian efforts in Abaco, particularly Grand Bahama, protecting our southern shores. As you probably would have noticed, most of the arrests that have occurred, we have choked them as deep south as possible, so we're running some effective strategies.
King says he hopes to finalize several bilateral and multilateral agreements with neighboring countries, and the RBDF is also focused on decentralizing its assets, strengthening its regional partners, and enhancing maritime domain awareness.
So with the drones, I intend to unfold that package as the government just signed off, so we can be able to use those drones from our vessels, as well as throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have about 5 islands we intend to focus on to have those drones operate from.
Amidst past concerns over looting on the Hurricane Dorian-hit islands of Grand Bahama and Abaco, the acting commander says statistics have not supported increased incidents or recent incidents. He says RBDF Marines have been conducting operations with police around the clock, inclusive of roving patrols throughout the communities.
I'm quite satisfied that we have firm control, along with the police, in terms of reducing the fear of crime. It's not to say that more cannot be done. We're seeking to enhance our posture even further.
Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, the Royal Bahamas Police Force making waves of its own over in Grand Bahama. New recruits were sworn in yesterday, and the group included for the very first time on Grand Bahama recruits from the Turks and Caicos Islands. Here's Natalia Hall.
Some 35 Bahamian recruits were officially sworn in by Acting Commissioner Paul Roll at the Gerald Bartlett Police Headquarters in Freeport. The group was also joined by 18 recruits from the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force. Roll says it is gratifying to see new recruits joining the fight against crime.
I wish to say to you and to stress to you that when you have signed the oath this morning, the public holds you accountable.
He assured the group that policing is a rewarding career.
But you have to be committed. If all you're looking for today is a job, then policing, you may find it very, very troubling. You may find it very difficult. If service is what you enjoy doing, then you will enjoy serving your country as a policeman or policewoman.
The acting commissioner telling the recruits that integrity is the watchword in the profession.
There'll be opportunities for you to become corrupt and to take advantage. I ask you, resist it.
The group then recited the oath, signed their contract, and received their official acceptance letters. Sergeant responsible for the recruits from Turks and Caicos, Damon Mitchell, says the country has a long-standing relationship with the Bahamas.
It's not the first time we have done training together, and there is a great relationship in terms of not just initial training, but training in general. We're looking forward to turning out great recruits. We know that they are going to get the right information and they're going to be great officers. There are going to be areas where our laws differ. That's why I am here. I am going to tell them what our laws are. But generally speaking, the baseline for policing is always the same.
Now, these Bahamian recruits say they are looking forward to the training experience and everything that the career of policing has to offer.
And what I'm most looking forward to is learning the customs of the police force and more in-depth knowledge of the laws of the Bahamas.
I'm looking for better progress physically and mentally, and I'm just open to learn everything they put before me. And actually, my reason for joining the police force is because they say it's a new walk in life. I have a desire to impact my community, and I'm willing to help out anywhere and anytime I can.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Italia. A local attorney applauding the establishment of a new Rehabilitation of Offenders Committee. He is also clearing the air on the status of persons whose records are expunged and their employment chances. Betty Thompson-Moss reports.
It's been an uphill battle for convicts, some of them first-time offenders, teenagers and now elderly grandparents who sought help to have criminal records expunged. Recent legislation is helping to make this process easier. Legal advisor to the new Rehabilitation of Offenders Committee, Attorney Paul Jones, describes the legislation as modern and quite timely.
I consider this to be a very innovative piece of legislation that is ready to fit into the 21st century, ready to give our people in this country a second chance. Because there are persons who, for whatever reason, would have made a mistake or may have deliberately entered into a life of crime, and which would have caused them to have a conviction. But somewhere along the line, that person may have changed. And so I think it's more prudent than not to give that person a chance so that they can contribute to society, reduce recidivism in this country, and move on with a life of normalcy.
Attorney Jones, a former police officer, has witnessed the despair of many convicts.
It's been a long time coming. And I say that because from where I formerly worked at police headquarters, there were persons who came there on a daily basis who had a police record, had a conviction, and some of whom who would have been, had finished, served their time, had repaid their dues back to society, and this is now, in some instances, 20 years later. And when you have a criminal conviction of the extent to which it's a matter that perhaps can or cannot be expunged, it lingers over the individual head. And so I've seen the great and small.
From a legal standpoint, Jones says those persons who are granted expungement should not be discriminated against by employers.
No employer, no prospective employer has a right in law to question that person about an expungement that went through the proper procedures of law, and that this committee saw and recommended to be a prudent thing to do in terms of granting a expungement for that particular individual. In fact, it's an offense. It's an offense under the Act to hold an expunged record against an individual or to question them, to require them to produce that record.
The attorney, however, points out that there are instances and categories of employment where it's mandatory that present and past records are submitted.
Those particular areas will be some of the areas of essential services, doctors, they work with young people and vulnerable people, impressionable people, engineers and other persons of the like, policemen, defense force officers. They are amongst the accepted professions. And so therefore, those persons making application would have to declare what their record is.
Now, the Rehabilitation of Offenders Committee strongly feels that everyone deserves a second chance. And very soon, the team will be mounting public meetings to create greater awareness of the committee's role and garner support from the public for persons seeking a new lease on life. Betty Thompson-Moss for the Morning Edition.
Thanks a lot, Betty. Home security is big business, as this represents a hefty investment for many. So finding the right security for your home and wallet is important. This morning, Lloyd Allen is speaking with a local security company which offers a number of options for homeowners.
Well, good morning again. This morning we're talking about securing your home as best as you can and your business. As today we're talking with Candy Weatherford. She's the proprietor here at Sure Alarm. Good morning, Ms. Weatherford.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. So I see that you have set up several options for possible customers. Talk to us a little bit about what's available now in the market.
Well, today's alarms take IP, your internet, into account, whereas years ago you had only the phone and option if there was an additional radio. Now you have a lot of IP devices that are just really cutting edge, and we've just recently started using this product, Paradox, and we're just loving it because there are so many great features. And you also can get an app that pushes everything to your phone, so you can be involved in your own security. You can monitor it from any touch-tone device, any touchscreen device. So it's just great.
As I spoke with one of your technicians admissions earlier, he expressed the idea that oftentimes many of these would-be criminals are on a time constraint. Yeah. And so while these alarms work, do you have any advice when it comes to deterrent or prevention that could really better protect homes?
When you're going to skip on something, don't skip on your security, your protection. So your locks are important. Yeah. There are certain locks, too, that are made that persons can't get keys cut for. So you don't have to worry if someone knows you and steals your keys and things like that, because it's against the law for any locksmith to cut that key. So, things like that you want to think about. And those plates that go over, the guard plates that go over your door, so they can't take a crowbar. Excellent first line of defense. Somebody wants to get in your house, they're going to spend some time. The whole idea is to maximize their problem that they have getting into your house so that you can protect yourself in time.
What sort of advice would you offer to persons to really better protect themselves? Earlier, someone had said that, if you go into the ATM, look behind you or take a long drive before you go home. Yeah. Any other bits of advice you can offer? Yeah.
Always be conscientious of who's behind you and how long they've been there. I never go home if there's a car behind me. I don't turn into my corner. I go around the block. I want to see if you're going to stay with me, if you're going to, follow me where I'm going, because I'm not going home if I don't know the person behind me. I'm staying, in my car where I'm safe. Also, with the alarm, you can also have a panic button that will work from outside your house. Should someone follow you home, you can press the panic button. You alert us. We send your family, your friends, the police, everybody to your rescue. We always send in a situation with a panic button, family members as well.
Well, of course, there are several options there, and it's all about keeping your home safe and secure while you're away. And of course, we will continue to provide more information along these lines. Hopefully, Ms. Weatherford would be able to grace us with her presence again with another level of protection for your home as you move forward. Reporting for the Morning Edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Well, take a note of this. Our neighbors to the south in the Turks and Caicos Islands are said to be at a crisis level when it comes to the harvesting and landing of conch and are having difficulties placing the delicacy on dinner menus. And now officials from the Bahamas National Trust say if fisheries authorities don't take some needed actions, the Bahamas could experience the same fate sooner than we think. Executive Director Eric Carey says stringent measures must be put in place immediately to preserve this precious yet delicate resource.
There was a story last week in Turks and Caicos Weekly. They've had to take it off the menu. That's their national dish. They can't find conch. We have people we work with in Turks and Caicos, and they're at crisis level. And then, Facebook this week, someone sent me, the picture of the mailboat, with a gazillion conchs on it. Oh, there's no problem. Of course there's a problem, and you will have plenty, and people will still find. That's what we're saying. We still have conch. You can still harvest conch, but if we don't put in place the measures that prevents and penalize also, we need enforcement. So to prevent the harvesting of juveniles, to put in place the protected areas that we've recommended. Conch have to be landed in the shell, but there are a lot of fishermen that call me personally, message me and say, Eric, we got to do something with conch because I'm seeing the depletion. We hope it's not too late. We don't believe it's too late, and we're hoping that the government will act now. We just sent, actually we just had a brief meeting with the PM, and I personally briefed him that it's something that we need to look at. So hopefully Cabinet will look at the recommendations that we've sent to the Minister.
But while a meeting with the Minister of Agriculture is still pending, Carey says complaints of illegal fishing in Bahamian waters continue to intensify. He says to deter this practice, stiffer penalties must be enforced.
I know the government, to their credit, we've bought more boats for the Defense Force, and the government is investing in drone technology. But we have to bring poaching under control, especially the Dominicanos, but also poachers from the north, from the U.S., who come and fish illegally and take too much. So we need to be dealing with our problem as a nation. We need to be able to deal with our own fishermen and have discussions. But if you have this outside
influence and this impact that you can't even determine. I don't know how much fish and conch and lobsters are leaving this country illegally. We want to enforce the existing regulations, which makes it illegal to harvest juveniles. We haven't proposed a season in our recommendations for a number of reasons, because scientists have found that if you put a closed season on conch, the harvesting before and at the end tends to negate that, especially in short periods. We don't think we've reached the season for conch, but who knows? But if we don't act, then the only option available to us would be to close it down for a couple of months, or close it down forever.
Stay close. We've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Have 2 games working.
Tired of looking for a place where a family can have some fun? Well, check this out. My name is Polly, and this is Polly's Playhouse. From an arcade to miniature golf and a train ride into the Polly Cave. Check us out in the Wong's Plaza, Madera Street. Call 356-7273.
For the latest news and highlights in Bahamian culture, tune in to the new Junkanoo 242, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network. Radio Bahamas 1540 a.m. on 104.5 FM and TV 13. Each week, host Arlene Nash Ferguson and Darren Bastian engages listeners with some of the movers and shakers of Junkanoo and Bahamian culture. Don't miss Junkanoo 242, Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network.
Welcome.
Welcome back. Traffic continues to build up on our streets, and our team is now in the Prince Charles Drive area once again. Here's Lloyd Allen. We don't have that report right now. Everyone wants to be healthy, but a better life begins with mental health. Here's Crystal Darling.
Be not conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of the mind. A lot of persons believe that heart is what is our core, but it all starts in the mind. Before a feeling can even come, it starts with a thought.
The words of writer Tanisha Longley, whose book Silent Cries aims to spread awareness throughout the community about identifying mental health issues. Our news team met up with the 2009 College of the Bahamas graduate who wrote the book from personal reflections and experience. With green dye in her hair as a symbolic representation of mental illness, Longley told us that one of the first steps in understanding where we are mentally is through acknowledging emotions.
Our emotions are real. They are present. They are not always right, but they are present and they're real and they deserve acknowledgement. That's what I try to tell people, even daily in life. You may be driving on the road and let's say someone run into the street. That frustrates you. Don't try to shut it down. Be like, oh no, I'm not frustrated. It did frustrate you. You did get angry. So acknowledge the emotions, deal with it constructively and positively, and then move on.
Longley adds that getting help and assistance from professionals once mental health issues are suspected is crucial. She says the book is also a guide and handbook for those looking for information for themselves and others.
Sometimes people don't know how to talk about something because they don't know about it. So basically the Directives of Silent Cry was for that, to give people a handbook that is filled with knowledge on different mental health, so not only that they can be aware of themselves, but also their loved ones, because some people have loved ones who are struggling with this and they don't know how to communicate with them, they don't know how to deal with them, they don't know how to give them the help that they need.
The writer also gives advice on how to overcome related issues, along with an account of her own struggles.
I just thought I was introverted and shy, but with all the trauma going through, I tend to just silence everything, and I used to, like, when the pressures get too much, cut or whatever to deal with it.
Longley advises individuals to keep a journal to track progress and regularly motivate themselves.
A lot of times we don't know how to pat ourselves on our back because we don't really cognitively see the progress we're making all the time, but with a journal, it helps you, because then when you go back and you see, oh, I've come a far way, further than I actually thought, it's really good to help you to progress in life.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, guava duff is a favorite for many here in the Bahamas. This week in our cooking segment, Lloyd Allen travels to Saunders Beach, where he had a chance to prepare a coconut duff. Take a look.
Good morning again. We're here at the new Duff with Kendrick Delaney, the proprietor.
So we're going to start with using flour. Okay. I see you got some yeast there. If you can just throw it in here for me as well.
All of it?
Yep, just throw most of that in there. And yeast, you could bloom it in hot water, but for today, we're going to let it rise in the dough. Mm-hmm. We're going to add some sugar.
Awesome.
Just like your grandmother used to make it. And I also have some butter. I see you got your jacket on there, so that means you can't get your hands dirty.
Not too dirty.
But if you maybe could add some water for me as well. I'll add the butter.
All right, now I've heard some bakers and chefs say before you want to add all of your dry ingredients first?
Correct.
Yeah.
You want to add your dry ingredients, and then you also want to cut in your fat into the mix. So this is just to get the butter all into small little bits first.
All right, so I can pour this in now?
Yep, then you can go add that. Now, through the magic of television, of course, we've also prepared some dough in advance.
Okay.
I can show you some of that. After it dries for about a few hours, you get something light and fluffy like this.
Wow.
You can try it out just to feel the texture of it. How would you describe that?
Very duffy.
For our coconut, of course, we use only local coconuts.
Awesome.
So, like I said, each one of them is individually rolled and made by hand so that you get your own individual duff. So you put some coconut in there.
Right.
And we do some magic here where we pinch it all together.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you really quickly. And then you get a little ball like this.
Uh-huh.
And that's how we start off our duff. So you put these in here. These out first. So you want a batter shot. Ready? So when we're steaming water, we just add our duff. And you can put your lid on here. In about 18 minutes, the duff is ready.
So it's been about 18 minutes now. What does the product look like now?
So it takes about 18 minutes for it to double in size. Mm-hmm. And this is how it looks afterwards. Wow. You get a really plump duff. If you just was to test it, maybe you can get you a fork here.
Okay.
Or a spoon. You can just see it's a really light dough.
Mm.
And we also have sauce that goes with it. So this is our coconut caramel duff. Very traditional coconut.
Wow. Awesome. Of course, we will be following Kendrick as he travels more around New Providence, giving you new ways of experiencing the duff. Reporting for the Morning Edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
That duff looks good, Lloyd. Thanks a lot. Stay close. We've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Lights, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed luck. That's how Rough Riders roll.
It's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
Buddy Hield and the Kings have their...
Buddy Hield seems to be having the best season of his career. He had 32 points the other night. It was a bit disappointing, Shawnee Miller not winning the IAAF World Female Athlete of the Year. The high school rankings will soon be out. Tabernacle, the defending champions, CC Sweeting, they are always there. Who will it be this year? Each Monday on 1540 AM and 104.5 FM, it's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
Yes, good morning again, LaDon. Good morning, Bahamas. This morning, we're giving you a second traffic drop. This one coming in from the westbound lane of Prince Charles Drive near the Prince Charles Shopping Center. And I'm joined again by Sergeant Cressenia Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving us some details on an operation by police officers.
Pleasant good morning to you again, and pleasant good morning, Bahamas. Well, again, like you said, this area, we're now in the Prince Charles Drive area. We have received several reports from the general public regarding the way drivers traverse the street in this area. Of course, we know this is a high pedestrian traffic area. This is a high volume of traffic area. We have persons traversing the streets as early as 4 a.m. in the morning. And one thing that we know the Prince Charles Drive thoroughfare is famous for is serious accidents. We get extensive damage. We have serious injuries, even fatalities. And those fatalities extend to involving pedestrian traffic. So all of this now, as police officers, we are to enforce, and that is exactly what we intend to do within this area. Just for this week, I've traversed the streets here in Prince Charles area, just Seabreeze Lane, especially the Gleniston Stub Park area, and persons are failing to keep left. There are vehicles here that are not licensed, persons are not wearing their seatbelts. All types of different infractions are coming from this area. Yes, we do know that coming out of the eastern area, there are only technically 3 outlets from this area. That is the Eastern Road area, Prince Charles Drive, or the Charles Sanders Highway. So because of that, we expect to have a high volume of traffic. But we also want to encourage the general public as you traverse the streets to do so safely.
And also, one of those things that I observed earlier, you had to redirect some pedestrians, some students from the school just through Jane Street here to properly use this pedestrian crossing.
Yes, our electric road crossing. Yes, it's not clearly marked as you would have the white in the street. But yes, there is a pole there right behind us. It has an electric crossing button. You press that button and you follow the instructions that it gives. In doing so, you ensure your safety, and then drivers are made aware of what is going on in the street because the light automatically has them stop when you're there by the pedestrian crossing.
So a final advisory for drivers as you make your way to this area, please ensure that you're using all street signage. Pedestrians also observe them as well. Any final words?
Yes. For example, down by St. Augustine School, we have persons who fail to adhere to that sign that is up there. They turn right instead of turning left, and it causes a major obstruction, and a lot of people are frustrated. So at this particular point, we are right now just focusing on these things that persons are reporting to us. We're gearing down, and we're making sure that the general public feels what it is that we're saying through our operations.
All right, so some great news there for everyone. And of course, LaDon, back to you in studio.
Lloyd, thanks a lot for that second traffic update. Fisher, I understand the Kansas City Chiefs are celebrating.
They'll be celebrating their championship today. Also, some schools advanced in government school basketball yesterday. They'll have a little celebration today, but the big celebrations will be next week because that's when the championship games will be held. So it's championship action for all basketball. If you're a basketball fan, we have the Hugh Campbell basketball tournament coming up. We have Long Island coming up. We have all kinds of things coming up, government school, private school, so it's all about basketball. We'll be bouncing all over the place.
All of that and more ahead in sports.
Every dream needs a gentle push. Every tomorrow needs a warm embrace. Every ambition needs hope to take flight and the faith to pursue a unique goal. At Commonwealth Bank, we make it happen for you. Today, tomorrow, and into the future. Commonwealth Bank. Everything we do it for you.
morning, everybody. Welcome to sports once again. Elimination on the line for 4 teams as the government school best of 3 championships jumped at the AF Alley. Starting off with senior boys play. What a game as the Anatole Rogers Timberwolves played for their playoff lives, but unable to stay alive. This one back and forth like 2 heavyweight boxers slugging it out. When the buzzer sounded, however, it was the Rattlers of C.I. Gibson moving on to the championship round with a 70-69 win. Frederick King leading the charge with 12. CI Senior Girls looking to do the same as well as their boys. Already have 1 game to zip on the Knights of C.R. Walker. Not wanting to spoil the fun made it a hard night for the city as they took the sting out of them and ended their season also with a sweep thanks to a 36-27 win. Junior boys now, where Donald Davis and C.H. Reeves have met for the last few years. The Raptors always playing the Royals close and took this one into overtime, looking to force a decisive game 3. And in overtime, the experience of D paid off as they sent C.H. packing 55-52.
It's been a long ride, the last 10 years, last decade, coaching Donald Davis, and every year it's getting tougher and tougher. All I can say is, we survived that one, God is good.
And now the junior girls, where the defending champs T.A. Thompson made sure that they would be back to defend their crown. They put aside the Raptors of C.H. Reeves to the score of 28-20.
The victory today, it means a lot for the Lady Scorpions. We have been building this team now for 3 years, so we are trying now to get in the good leagues. The good leagues with double championships, so we're working towards a goal. Now we just wait T.W. Davis or H.O. Nash. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. As a matter of fact, Patty's the both of our old coach. So it doesn't matter. We just focus on the girls, doing what they have to do, and we winning another championship.
Well, the Olympic Games in Tokyo just a few months away, and the coronavirus is a major concern, and the host country is putting in place measures to combat the disease and stop any outbreaks. According to the president of the Bahamas Olympic Committee, Romel Fish-Knowles, the international body has been in constant dialogue with the World Health Organization.
Very worried about it. We are monitoring it. We are waiting obviously, Japan would have spent, I think, in the vicinity of $26 billion to host these games. So, and obviously the health and welfare of our athletes, and globally the athletes come first. And we are waiting and we're awaiting word from the International Olympic Committee as to the next course of action. But as I speak, it appears that the games are on, and the Bahamas will be there to represent, barring any challenges with the virus that might affect the games.
Well, after a few-year hiatus, the Ellen Coakley Track and Field Invitational is back. It's set for this coming weekend at the Onion Bowl Stadium in Exuma. Well, the entire student body and Coach Antonio San is excited for the return.
We'll be putting on the Exuma Inter-Island Track Classic, which will be housing various clubs out of Nassau and high schools out of Long Island. We're expected to house and have about 100 to 250 students here competing. We're expecting it to be the beginning of a great thing because we're expected to, our whole goal with the event is to merge academics, athletics, and the arts so we can showcase the talent that's coming from the Exuma Island.
My name is Brianna Taylor and I am 13 years old. I'll be running the 800 and the 400 for Inter-Island. And I am expected to try my best and be confident.
I'll be running the 100, 200, and 400. And what to be expecting of me is a showdown, something that you never saw before and you'll never see again.
Should be a great weekend over there in Exuma, with teams expected in from Long Island as well as New Providence. And that's going to do it for Sports Wednesday. Thanks for watching. LaDawn is coming back with a special announcement, and Basil is going to tell us about this weather, so stay tuned. Don't you dare go anywhere.
What was that? Oh, no. That was just one little item, man. Don't worry about that.
You trying to kill us, eh?
What you mean?
Man, you shouldn't be throwing stuff in the ocean anyway. Items like that contain what they call persistent organic pollutants or POPs.
Look, bro. I just come here to fish, you know. I finished school a long time, bro.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. We always out here fishing. The fish eat the POPs and we eat the fish. The more contaminated the fish, the more susceptible we are to diabetes and cancer and the like. You even know how to spell susceptible? This is no laughing matter. Pops are in everything. Paint thinner, cleaners, cleaning products. Huh?
How you even know all this? You can't even remember how we get here.
Man, my sister worked to the best commission. They got the lowdown on all these environmental mental issues.
Oh, you mean Shari?
Yeah.
I was trying to check her, you know. What their number is again?
This message is brought to you by the Best Commission and its partners. For more information online, visit best.gov.bs.
Hi, I'm Kendall Smith, and I'm a pig farmer. Cardi has been very helpful to be as a pig farmer. Cardi is a good resource for the benefit of farmers in the Bahamas with respect to training, which relates to housekeeping, which is caretaking, and nutrition, which has to do with the pig diet. And so that helps a great deal in the growth and the development of pig farming in the Bahamas. With the help of Cardi as a pig farmer, I feel the future is bright for Serenity Farm in that with all the assistance with training, I will be able to grow my farm on what it is now today. And in fact, improve upon the existing structure and the inventory.
In our final look at whether that area of high pressure continues to collapse and slide towards the east, and that means some lovely weather for another day or so. But things will change come Friday. We have that frontal system now approaching the eastern Gulf of Mexico. That will move into the area on Friday, and late Friday afternoon, we'll see some showers developing here in the capital, taking us into the nighttime hours. But behind that, temperatures will cool down quite nicely. Our forecast for today calls for breezy conditions with periods of clouds and sunshine. High temperature reaching 83 degrees today, and tonight another beautiful night, partly cloudy, your low around 67 degrees. And the extended weather forecast over the next 7 days, we're looking at fine weather into Thursday. Things change on Friday as that frontal system gets into the area. Showers and isolated thunderstorms developing. A few showers lingering over into Saturday morning, but by Saturday afternoon, things should start to clear out quite nicely. So looking well heading into Sunday and the early part of next week. Laton?
Thanks a lot, Basil. And just before we go, we'd like to send out a very special happy birthday to my dear cousin and our very own Randy Knowles, celebrating his birthday today. And yes, we will celebrate your big day, big guy. Happy birthday. And that does it for us this morning. For the entire Morning Edition team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a wonderful Wednesday, everyone.
Watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
now, 1540 AM, 104.5 FM. This is Radio Bahamas, the national voice of the Bahamas, the station for the nation. It is now 7:30. News is next over the Bahamas Radio Network.
Zephyr, giving birth to ZNS Radio Bahamas, taking the news to the nation and the nation to the world.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Rubis. Rubis Ultratech Fuels. It's just better.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Makush Lopinda with a look at what's coming up in our 7:30 newscast. The number of residents quarantined due to the coronavirus has increased. The Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority changes leadership, and traffic police reporting some 25 accidents overnight, one of them a hit and run, and 13